So I'll discuss about how to go about the examinations of ACC, whether diploma in IFRS or SBR, or for that matter, any examination of the qualification. If you're doing a professional qualification, what should be your attitude? Like, so why the result is a failure, and why people pass? Like, the difference is simple. The difference is that some of them take it seriously, in the sense, do it like a ritual, practice every day, read the content every day, even if they are not able to do much of it. So I get this usual excuse from people that we didn't get time, or we are very busy with the audit work. And since it is April, many of you are very much busy with closing the financials, or if someone is an auditor among us, they may be busy with like preparing their reports. So definitely, like, we do not have time, and we are in such a profession that we'll never get time to learn. So it depends totally on our priority, that what is our priority in life. Do we need to learn? Do we wish to get ahead of others in life? Because if you have decided to study an additional qualification, that in itself tells the world that you are ahead of lakhs of people in the country or in the world, I would say. The moment you decide to pursue something different, what the normal people are not doing, and you're challenging the status quo by saying that, yes, I also don't have time, but I plan to do it, I decide to do it. So it's a personal decision which you need to respect. You have decided it. You did not decide it for the sake of telling people that you're doing a qualification. You decided it for the sake of doing it, for the sake of finishing it someday. So when you decide it, please always remember the day when you decided it, for what reason you decided it. And if you've decided it, you should not look here and there to complete it. You should not close your eyes that it should happen automatically. There should be a way out. Don't look for shortcuts in life now. You have decided it, please respect it. Now please give priority to it as well. See if your boss sometimes says that your work gets completed by 12, or in the night at 10 p.m., and suddenly you get an email which is an urgent email. What do? Maybe you'll sit for another 2 3 hours to work around it, and you'll send the reply by 1 a.m. in the morning. So when we are able to stretch ourselves for the work we are doing, why can't you stretch yourself for the priorities you have in your life, which are going to build your career? So some people say that we didn't get time. So I normally say that if you're sleeping at 9 p.m., please sleep at 10. If you by chance are lucky enough to sleep by 11, please sleep by 12. And if you're not able to sleep by 12 because of your office work, sleep at 1 a.m. in the night. Give 1 hour to your future. Give 1 hour to the investment you plan within yourself. If you can take out time for your work, you can definitely take out time for the priorities in life. You need to respect them as well, and you'll definitely get time. If you think about it seriously, you will get time hereafter. Now, another mistake like which people make is they do not study these qualifications for the sake of knowledge. They study for the sake of passing, which is the biggest mistake they make. If you invest time every day, you are able to gain knowledge in such a manner that you can use that knowledge in your examination. You can use that knowledge for your interviews, on the job, wherever you want it. So build it in such a manner so that you pass the examination as well. Don't build it to pass the examination, build it to win in life. So there's a difference between building that knowledge as well. Prioritize your time, to invest your time to learn it in such a manner. So that, what is the biggest mistake like people normally do is, they they think that they'll do it someday, they'll do it someday, they'll open up the book, they'll look at the lecture. It's not at all possible to do when you think you have to do it. You have to definitely have a plan, and you have to spend at least 1 hour every day, no matter what. Sometimes I say that, even if you don't get it, like if you're reading the content, if you're listening to the lecture, you're not in a good mood, please don't worry about it. Even if you're not in a good mood to study, even if you're not in a good mood to read anything, if you are in the practice of doing it every day, your mind is so powerful, your mind is so smart, that it will be able to relate to the content somewhat. Something will get related every day, and the knowledge gets built up. And I also use a term known as crystallized knowledge. First you build up knowledge, and a time comes when the knowledge also gets crystallized in the sense that you are able to relate to the content, and you are able to move to the next level of knowledge, wherein you know what you're talking about, you know what you have read. So even if you don't understand it in the first place, don't worry about it, because that's the way of learning. One time you'll read it, you'll get something. Second time when you go through it, then by practicing a question, then again going through the revisions. So there are phases of learning, so don't miss the phase of learning. So people who miss the phase of learning, what they do, they miss the first initial understanding phase, and they directly jump on to passing the examination in the last minute. So why people pass? because whatever you read, the content remains in your head for at least 18 days. You can use that knowledge for 18 days and you can pass any paper in those 18 days. But what happens after 18 days? Your result is good, but if someone asks you something in an interview, you are again fallen back because you believe that you studied it, then you don't have any knowledge. So I don't want that kind of knowledge. I don't want people to have that kind of knowledge. Another mistake which people do is, like, I've noticed many people who uh, have done well, have studied well, have practiced well, but even then in the examination hall they could not do well. The reason being, the the reason is why they could not do well. So how many questions one needs to do? Some people think that they need to do 100 questions. They need to do 10 questions of balance sheet or 20 questions of PP or something. In my If you do it my way, you just need to do 4 balance sheet questions, just 3 income statement questions, just 3 income statement. In case of Arjun, even the cash flow is applicable, but for diploma, it is not applicable. One group cash flow statement and one question from each standard. If someone is willing to pass, this is enough. Now, how to go about it? And now some people commit this mistake of they read the question, they read the answer. They read the question related to the answer, and being at your level, being at the experience level you are, some of you being chartered accountants, MBA finance professionals, and experience at your level, what do you think? You think that you are very smart to understand it. So you read the question, you read the answer, relate it in your mind, you do debits and credits, that okay, plus this side, minus this side, and you close the book. What happens in the examination hall? You're not able to know where to start, where to begin from, because you've not practiced enough. And in trying to save time, in this excuse of trying to save time, you read the question, you read the answer, you read the question, read the answer, and there is a consolation feeling in your head that you already know it because you have done it. You did these questions, you have done 10 questions, 20 questions. I was in a similar situation, like when I was doing my professional papers, I didn't know where to begin from. I didn't know where to start. Luckily, I was teaching IFRS. So when I was doing my professional level papers in ACCA, I was able to relate to the content and I was able to explain to the examiner, this is how I am doing it. But that was for passing only, not to gain knowledge. I started learning IFRS after I began my training, after my degree was over. So you must be wondering, like, qualification is not knowledge. Qualification is simply a medium to help you to enter the arena. And once you do it, then it's all knowledge, like, which will only help you to move to the next level. So how to do it? Please read the question, attempt the question, do not look at the answer. Please do not look at the answer. Now there is a fear inside you. Now you're afraid of yourself. I didn't get it, or there's some conceptual clarity which I'm lacking. So a fear reaps into our body. Now to curb that fear, some people are not able to resist that fear and suddenly will look at the answer, immediately look at the answer. I would say, please do not do it. Allow that fear to reap in, allow that fear that you do not know something. So when you allow that fear to come in, simply need to now go and again practice it. The same question, please practice again. When you practice the same question again, now you knew that there is some conceptual clarity you're lacking. If you practice it again, 70-80% will be same. You will be familiar with it. You know the content. 20% is something which is bothering you. Now with more conceptual clarity, maybe you'll be able to tackle that as well. If you still do not know it, I would say again go and clear the concept. And in the third or fourth attempt, you may look at the answer to curb your emotions so that you do not get too tensed. Now, if you practice in this manner, even 4 questions of balance sheet are much more than enough. Because every time you do it, 70-80% will be similar, only 20% will be different. So your passing is guaranteed, because even in the examination hall, 70-80% will be similar to what you're doing, 20% will be trickier, which will require some conceptual clarity. Now, if you have practiced on your conceptual clarity as well, you may be able to tackle the remaining 20% as well. 3 questions of income statement are much more enough, because there is a limit to the knowledge like they're testing. There's limit to the boundary of the knowledge they're testing. They're testing you in limited boundaries, and if you cross that, you're ahead of them, and there's no way that you're going to fail this examination. There's no chance you're going to fail this examination. You must have also had this fear, like before learning, that IFRS is tough, IFRS is all fair value. Most of the applications are getting clear, like as you are progressing. Now, if you follow whatever I'm saying, I know it is tough. Another thing you need to do is you need to test yourself at odd times. Now in the examination hall, the hall is very cool, calm, silent. You have 3 hours to attempt. Test yourself at odd times, like you have emailed to your senior on some important project and you're in a relaxed manner. After 15-20 minutes, attempt one question. Earlier, I used to say that when you're back from office, nowadays no one is back from office, they are at home. So after your work is over, you try to attempt one question. If you're awake in the middle of the night, you have nothing to do, instead of wasting your time on WhatsApp or Facebook or any other social media platform, challenge yourself, test one question. Just attempt one question, test yourself. Now, when you challenge yourself at odd times without looking at the answer, giving conceptual clarity to yourself, again attempting it, you will be ahead of lakhs of people in the world, I can say. And this will also prepare you to answer promptly. Like uh, I have done these things, like to challenge myself, which have helped me to answer promptly in my training sessions. The same technique you can apply to be able to answer promptly, because in real life, you will not get time. You may say in some instances that I'll be getting back on this, I'll read and come. But if you're able to answer promptly, I think you'll gain much more value in your job, in your work life, and also in the examination hall. Be prompt in your answer, try to be as much prompt as much as possible. So that is only possible when you practice in that sense. But testing yourself at odd times, test yourself. And when you test yourself in this fashion, you'll it will be, this IFRS learning will be like a game for you. Like you treat it like a game, and you're challenging yourself and you're learning. Another thing is, we are afraid of ourselves. When you attempt our question, we, if you're not able to do it, we are afraid that I could not do it, or what if I fail in the examination, shall I go for the examination or not? These questions will come to your mind. But when you're challenging yourself every day, when you're into a game with yourself, you'll definitely be knowledgeable. Exam will simply be a cakewalk for you, and you can easily pass the examination. Now, another mistake which people does is that they keep on reading the content till the last minute in the examination, last minute of the examination. They even carry their books to the examination hall. My advice to them is, like, so though the exam is away, but I can tell you even today, like what is to be done, like how you need to plan your studies now. So I want you to start gearing up for preparing for the challenge now, so that don't think of preparing till the last minute. Like if your exam is in September, so your preparation should finish by, I would say, 15th of August 2020 should be the target. By any case, by hook, by crook, by any way, by spending extra time, whatever you do, your preparation should finish by this date. Last 15 days, you simply need to test yourself. Simply need to practice yourself in such a manner that you're able to answer any question. And if by chance your examination is on, suppose, 11th of September, your preparation should finish on 10th of September. The date in your head should not be 11th. The date in your head should be one day before, penultimate day. 5 p.m. of the previous day should be the date in your head. And you'll not be touching your book thereafter. You'll be simply relaxing, having a good sleep. Some people commit this big mistake of doing everything, studying everything. They know everything, but they ruin one day before the examination. They ruin the day before examination by not sleeping, by not having good food, by making themselves tired. They're lethargic, they're not able to use their mind properly. Some people also commit this mistake of have a heavy lunch, because in India the exam is in the afternoon. They have heavy lunch, go to the examination hall. Now what happens, they feel drowsy because their mind is digesting food. Nowadays they're seeking the answer, the mind is saying, please let me digest food, I'll come back to you. So in 2-3 hours time, when the food gets digested, and the moment they come out of the examination hall, they start getting the answers. Reason being, mind is now free to answer. So I always recommend to have a heavy breakfast on the day of the examination, have a light lunch, something which can be digestible before you enter, and you should be energetic enough. You should have a good sleep. The exam hall is much more better in comparison to the way you have practiced. It is cool, calm, everyone is silent, and behave like a king or a queen when you enter the examination hall, that you are here to win. So when you have this strategy in mind, you are ahead of lakhs of people. People will give you this superiority feeling that, do you know everything, and you should tell that yes, I know everything. If by chance someone comes to you to ask anything about leases, revenue, employee benefit, or anything financial instrument, please ask them to get lost. In literal sense, you can say please get lost. If you want to really add uh, some respect to the people who ask you the questions outside the examination hall, you can simply ask them to please get lost. I used to do this exactly in the similar fashion. Like if I talk about my way of examination, we were 200 people who used to give examination in Cochin, and I was the 200th one who used to simply sit on a sofa outside, used to order for a coffee, used to drink like a king without any books around me. If someone used to come closer to me, I used to say, please get lost, because I'm here to answer only to the examiner. I'm not going to answer to you. The next question used to be, do you know everything? I used to say, yes, I know everything. But looking at people around me, I used to get a lot of superiority feeling that I am the best. I know everything. I'm here to give answer to the examiner, and I am confident of doing whatever I'm going to do. I used to enter the examination hall like a king, as if I'm here to win. I'm already a winner. So that feeling reaped in, that cool and calm mind, even if I've not studied the book, that feeling helped me to pass some of my examinations in my ACCA qualification, which really carried with me later on as well. I have, even I tell the same thing to many of the people, like in the last 10 years, the people who believed in me and followed me, they were amazed by their results. Like whenever it happened, they were cool and calm outside the examination hall. My group used to look different outside the examination hall because this group was without books. So everyone knew that they must have heard me somewhere is the reason they're not carrying the books. So they were vibrant, they were energetic, they were having good laugh at other topics other than the content, and they were able to enjoy the examination. So this is how it is to be done. This is, so please follow whatever I'm saying. I'll share this as well so that you can remember whatever I'm trying to share. And I've already shared with you how to win in life, a strategy how to win in life, a 28-minute audio I've already shared with everyone. If anyone has not received it, I'll send it again. Now that the audio clip which I did it in a similar fashion like I'm doing it today with you. In similar fashion, when in my last class, I did that. I thought of sharing the strategy how to win in life, how to decide what you want in life. Because in my life, these things have worked. Like I've taken prompt decisions, I've taken decisions with my heart, not thinking too much about them, but they have played really well and in exactly the manner I wanted it, in exactly the shape I wanted it. Whatever I thought 10 years back, it is shaping up. 5 years back, it is shaping up. It is coming in my way. So you have to be very careful about what you're thinking in your head. Even I've shared with the title like we are what we think, our thoughts make our life. So in that audio I've shared the strategy how to win in life. So if anyone has not gone through it, I would recommend to spend 28 minutes. So there it is in 28 minutes. Spend 28 minutes, sit with yourself, even sit with your spouse, I would say, because when you're married you're not one. Like it's two minds now trying to work together, trying to create a life, trying to build a life. So I recommend those who are married to sit together, even your wife or your husband is not attending the session, but ask them also to uh, go through that, go through that 28-minute strategy of how to win in life. Because if both the minds are on the same platform, are thinking alike, want the same things in life, then only you both together can win. If one is in going in an opposite direction, one wants things, one doesn't want things. One is frugal, one is spendthrift. One wants to achieve things, one says no, we are contented. Then definitely will not be able to be at the place where we wish to be. So your partner has to be very supportive in that case, or look, either you have to be in a supporting end or either you need support. So in both the cases you need to tell your partner what is the thing which we want in life. Like we need to be very clear about what are the things we want in life immediately within this year. In future you can have a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan or a distant plan, like which you both wanted to happen, something big in your life which you both wanted to happen. So if you tell your mind every day, your mind is so powerful, I call it that your mind is so powerful, it can create anything for you. It will get the things done from you. So some people think that whatever I'm talking is magical. I'm not talking about any magic. It's simply using the power of mind. Because when you direct your mind that this is what I want out of my life, your mind is so powerful that it will get the things done from you. Whatever is required to achieve your goals, your mind is so powerful, it will take you to those places, it will take you to those decisions, it will take you to those companies or mediums or ways of life, so that your dreams get fulfilled someday, your goals get fulfilled someday, and you reach them someday. So it's not magical, it's simply a direction to your mind, which only knows now how to get things done. Like you have to tame your mind, you have to be your mind's master and tame your mind in such a manner that this is what I want out of my life. And you have to tell that every day that this is what I expect, this is I wish. And when you start working in that direction, your mind keeps on developing new ways to help you reach that place. So I always say that your mind is so powerful, it will get the things done from you. I know you're not ready to do it, but it will get the things done for you from you if you really want them to happen. But you need to tell your mind what you want out of life. Okay, so with this I close. I think let's move on to IS 41.